Welcome you in the lecture series of random processes, detection and estimation. It is 24th lecture of this series. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about non-parametric detection, where we have discussed sign detector, Wilcoxon detector. The sign detector counts the number of positive signs in the observation. Wilcoxon detector is based on ranking. This ranking is directly proportional to the position of the positive values while counting for the magnitude of the negative values. In this lecture, we will discuss about the sequential detector, detectors based on quantized observation, and robustness of a detector. In the objective of this lecture, you will able to explain where the sequential detection is used and what do we mean by the robustness of the detectors. Now, sequential detection. The sequential likelihood ratio detection is a modified Neyman-Pearson detection in which two thresholds are established. Testing is done until one of the two thresholds is crossed, and this modified NP test is characterized by fixing the probability of miss in addition to the probability of false alarm. In the modified NP test, that is sequential likelihood ratio test, the likelihood ratio is compared at every update time, means at each new sequential observation point with two thresholds. These two thresholds denoted by N0 and N1 and determined by the specifying a fixed value of alpha for probability of false alarm and fixed value of beta for the probability of missed target. Now, there are two hypotheses H0. It corresponds to when the likelihood ratio less than N0, and H1 hypothesis corresponds to when likelihood ratio greater than N1. If either the threshold is crossed, the test is stopped and the appropriate decision is taken. If either the threshold is crossed, the test is stopped and appropriate decision is taken. And if the alarm falls between the two thresholds, then decision is deferred. So now the another sample is taken and the test is repeated. Let we have independent and identically distributed observation xn is equal to xn x2 to xn, and the likelihood ratio test, it will be lambda xn p1 xn by p0 xn, and it will be equal to pi n1 to n p1 xn by p0 xn, and I can also write it as pi n to n minus 1 p1 xn divided by p0 xn, and p1 xn divided by p0 xn. So I can write lambda xn, it will be equal to lambda xn minus 1 into lambda xn. So we have a recursive agreement for the likelihood ratio test with initial condition lambda x1 is equal to lambda x1. Now, for the fixed Pn and Pf, we need to drive threshold N0 and N1 so that meet the constraint alpha is equal to probability of false alarm, means probability of H1 given H0 is 2. So it can be the n times integration with the critical region R1 P0 xn dxn, where small n is from 1 to n, and beta is equal to pm probability of miss. It is it is 1 by probability of detection. So from here the probability of detection, it will be equal to 1 minus pm or 1 minus beta, and you can write a probability of detection, it will be n times integration with the critical region p1 xn dxn, and it will be equal to n times integration r1 p1 xn divided by P naught xn dxn. So we can also write the probability of detection as the n times integration in the critical region R1 lambda xn P naught xn, this is lambda xn, P naught xn dxn, and where small n is from 0 to n. For deciding a detection, the sequential LRT or SLRT, it will be lambda xn is equal to lambda xn minus 1 lambda xn minus up to lambda xn1 greater than equal to n1, and this must be true for this detection. So probability of detection, it will be some n times summation n time integration with the critical region, and lambda xn P naught xn dxn will be greater than equal to n1, and integration with the critical region P naught xn dxn, and it will be equal to n1 into probability of false alarm, or you can say n1 into alpha. Since you know the probability of detection, it will be equal to 1 minus pm, or you can say 1 minus beta. So from here, probability of detection, it will be 1 minus beta, and the probability of detection, it is greater than n1 alpha. So probability of detection, it will be greater than equal to n1 alpha. Now we can have from this the value of n1, it will be less than equal to 1 minus beta by alpha, and this leads to a bound on n1. And similarly, the probability of miss, it is equal to n times integration in the critical region R naught P naught xn dxn, and it will be equal to n times integration in the region R naught lambda xn P naught xn dxn. And you know, to declare the miss, lambda xn will be less than equal to n naught. So here you can say beta, it will be less than equal to n naught integration with range R naught P naught xn dxn, and it will be equal to n naught, and this is 1 minus alpha, and so this leads to a bound on n naught. So here n naught is greater than equal to beta by 1 minus alpha. So this is the bound on n naught. So we have bound on n naught and n1. So the SLRT at step n will give you result lambda xn, it will be greater than n1, then we will decide h1, and lambda xn less than n naught, then we will decide in favor of h naught. So SLRT detector decide h1 to be true if lambda xn greater than n1, and if lambda xn less than n naught, then it decide h naught to be true. If the lambda xn greater than n naught but less than n1, then it will be lies between these two. Then the another sample is taken to form lambda xn plus 1, and test is repeated. If this is in between this, the value in between these two, n1 to n0 to n1. Consider example. Consider the detection of a DC level A in a additive Gaussian noise with zero mean and variance sigma square. Conduct a SLRT to detect the presence and absence of the signal. We want to terminate the test when Pm less than equal to beta or Pf less than equal to alpha. So the detection problem is you are having the two hypotheses h0 and two hypotheses h1 and h0, and hypothesis h0 corresponds to xn is equal to omega n, means under hypothesis h0 there is only noise present, and under hypothesis h1 the DC level is also present with the noise, means xn is equal to a plus omega n, where n is from 1 to 1, 2, 3 and so on. We know that the threshold n1 and n0 for deciding the hypothesis H1 or H0 can be given as N1, the boundary of N1 is bound on N1 is less than equal to 1 minus Pm by Pf, or you can say 1 minus beta by alpha, which we have seen in the previous slide, the bound on X1. And the N0 bound on N0, it is greater than equal to Pm by 1 minus Pf, or you can say beta upon 1 minus alpha. So the SLRT at nth step becomes lambda xn. It will be equal to e to the power summation n1 to n xn square minus summation n1 to n xn minus a whole square divided by 2 sigma square. And we compare this value with two threshold value eta 1 and n1 and n0. When this will exceed the n1, then we will decide h1 is true, and if it is less than n0, then we will decide h0 is true. And if it lies between these two, then we will take another sample and test is repeated. So here, from here you can see that z is equal to summation n1 to n xn. It will be greater than sigma square log e n1 by a plus an by 2, and for h0 it will z less than sigma square log e n0 by a plus an by 2, and if it is lie between these, then we will take another sample. So here we can see the figure of SLRT versus number of samples, and here this is sigma square log e n1 by a and sigma square log e n0 by a. So this is a line with slope a by 2, and if you have the samples, if the sample is observed and having the value in this region, then we will decide h1, and if your samples value are lying below this line, the slope of this line is a by 2, then we will decide h0. Now if these are the sample value lies between these two, then decision is deferred in this case. The outcome of the SLRT versus number of sample considered are, as you can see in this figure, and the case for n1 2 to 5, we have taken the case 1 to 5 6. So when the decision is deferred and another sample is required, here you can see from 1 2 3 4 5, neither of the threshold are closed, and when n is equal to 6, the upper threshold is closed. Here at this point the upper threshold is closed, so we allow to make a decision in favor of hypothesis h1, that is the signal is in present, and the case for n1 to n5, there is a decision deferred, and we should take some another samples for the testing purpose. Now we will discuss robustness of the detectors. Signal detection must be operate in a environment that are difficult to characterize with the precise statistical model. So it is of interest to develop detectors that are robust against mean sensitivity to deviation in the statistical behavior of signal and noise. So it is a robust detection of the signal in noise whose probability distribution is uncertain. Basically, the robustness is based on the optimization of the signal to noise ratio criteria. The robustness implies the robustness with respect to the deviation in the second order properties such as power spectrum, and there are some references. You can go for these references for the much study about the robustness of the detectors, and these are HV4, robustness in the signal detection, and the journal is Communication and Networks, page number 1312156, 1986. And another reference is S.A. Kasam, HV4, RUBS technique for signal processing, a survey. It is the IEEE proceeding and page number 4332 to 481 1985. And third one reference is the HV poll. Some results on RUBS signal detection and the 22nd IEEE conference on decision and control. Page 1098 to 1105 1983. Now the detector based on quantized observation. In practical, wireless sensor network detect a Gaussian signal with an unknown change of power. Due to power bandwidth constraint, we can consider that each sensor quantizes its observation into binary digit and binary data are transmitted through the noisy channel. At the detector, we can use GLRT to perform decision. So the binary quantizer is based on asymptotic analysis of general likelihood ratio test. So the quantization threshold is independent on the unknown scalar parameter, that is power. So let you have two hypotheses H0 corresponds to Xn, that is normal distribution with mean 0 and variance sigma naught square, and hypothesis H1 corresponds to Xn with normal random variable with mean 0 and variance sigma 1 square. If sigma naught is known but sigma 1 is unknown. In this problem, the sensor monitors the sudden change of the signal power from a normal state with a known sigma naught to a state with unknown sigma 1. Let a case when the sensor quantizes observation Xn into one binary data Dn and transmit through the noisy channel. Then Dn will be Qn quantized Xn, so it will be 0 if Xn more Xn less than equal to gamma n, and it will be 1 if more Xn greater than gamma n. Gamma n is the threshold here. If we perform GLRT here, then GLRT detector will give the test statistic as Px sigma 1 cap divided by Px sigma naught cap greater than less than threshold value gamma. Here sigma 1 is the MLE of sigma 1, maximum likelihood estimator of sigma 1, and it is obtained by maximizing the function under hypothesis H1. So the estimated value of sigma 1 cap is equal to maximization of the Px sigma 1 PDF under hypothesis H1 with the sigma 1. So far in this lecture, we have discussed about sequential detector and robustness of the detectors and detectors based on quantized observation. This was 24th lecture of the lecture series of random processes detection and estimation. And this is all about detection theory. From the next lecture, we will discuss about the estimation of the signal parameters. Till then, thanks for listening to this lecture. Thank you.